the way I think about my life is like, you have one shot at life. You don't get multiple chances, right? Like kind of religion, reincarnation aside. So how do you have like a really big impact? And I think the way I measure impact is on two axes. Your x-axis is how many people's lives do you touch? Your y-axis is like how deeply do you improve their life every day? So number of people times depth of impact. And the area under that curve is like how big of an impact you have on the world, and a positive impact. So for me, the x-axis was obvious, right? Never before in human history could you do this on a magic metal box and build something everyone on the planet used. But now, today, you have software, you have internet, you have computers, and you can do that, right? And I think that when you think about the world 20 years ago, what shaped our world? Government, religion, politics, countries. What is it today? Facebook, Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Bitcoin, Ethereum. So the idea here was that was what I really loved from a young age. I got to see my mom do it, and I was like, all right, this is what I want to do. And the y-axis was really interesting. So how do you really have daily positive impact on someone's life? And I'd gone through like a really tough time post-college. I like started this product company. It didn't really work. Was trialing with a co-founder. It didn't really work out. Got dumped by a long-term girlfriend. Was really lonely because I was like surrounded by all my friends in college. And then suddenly you're working by yourself and you don't have any, like you're not living with your friends and stuff. So it was like a really like tough time. And I realized like, hey, the number one thing that determines your life is the people you're around on a daily basis, right? Like what if you had all the people you truly cared about in your life every single day? How awesome would that be? And I think for me, I said, I want to do that, but I want to do it for everyone on the planet, right? And that was the driving force. And we spent a bunch of time like building social apps to do this. And we wanted to kind of capture that dorm environment. Like when you talk to your like best friend at like 5:30 in the morning, you have this hard target. Like how do you capture that? So we built like, I don't even know, like 6-7 different apps, like nothing really worked. And then finally we built this one app. There was our two friends, Ravi and Mateen, who we moved to San Francisco to be around our friends and to be around people who are building stuff. And then we were working all the time and we'd always see them we'd walk to Safeway to get these like $6 combo boxes. Cause it was like the healthiest, tastiest, most filling, cheapest option. And I got the healthy one. Joe got the unhealthy one. But he's still like in ridiculous shape, even though he eats like junk food. And basically, whenever we'd walk there to get lunch, we'd see our friends and we was like, oh, we should hang out. But then whenever we're free, we would be like, oh, who's free? We don't know. Let's like try to text people. And then we'd just go to the gym by ourselves because people wouldn't respond. So after like a year, we're just like, we never see these guys. So it's just annoying to text everyone. What if you could just press a button and it would just like automatically text all our friends, say like, hey, do you want to get lunch? Do you want to hang out? And we're like, no one is going to use this. It's literally just our friends. You know, it wasn't even the App Store. You had to go to my Facebook profile and download it there from like an enterprise build link that we did. And we thought no one's going to use it. And it basically just ends up blowing up. And that was there's a much longer story there. But the short answer is we did that for a while and we built version 2 and 3 in secret and then kind of switched to crypto.
Before you build out that app, when you had this idea, okay, blasting everyone with a message, like your initial thought was like, I want to impact as many people in the world, like influence. Did that correlate with that thought, or
It really did, because basically we had said, so we had said we want to make it feel like you live with your friends, and we always thought that would be digital, like sharing stories in a digital way, kind of like Snapchat, but more like text based. And then we said, I don't know, what if we just made it easier to hang out with people in real life? But I do think at that time we had pivoted so many times. I think the pivot right before that was we were like, at some point we were just like, all right, we just want to make something that people use, like even if it's not like exactly.
This is the thought I was looking for, right? Because you can't just otherwise, if all of your ideas have to be this grand idea, I'm building this Microsoft, it's so hard to even really start.
Hard. And that's actually not, and we learned that was not the right way. We did not brainstorm ideas in the right way, right? And I can talk about brainstorming, but basically like we'd build a bunch of apps. No one liked any of it. I mean, a few people used it, but no one was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And at one point, I think we started building all this random stuff just for fun. We built like a smart home system. We built a fridge where you can go to ratemyfridge.com and you can see like everything in our fridge. We like scanned all the stuff in our fridge and friends would comment. It's like all this random stuff. We started this like bodybuilding food delivery service and we're like, let's solve a problem that we have. So we tried doing this. We like ordered Blue Apron, which is kind of this like cooking kit that comes with food. And we like opened this box and we're like, what are we doing? Like we don't know anything about operations and we don't even know how to cook. So like this is not good. We like put it in the freezer and like never touched it ever again until we moved out. We threw it away. But I think at this point we're like, we just want to make something that works, and we just want to make something that someone uses, and so we're like, why don't we just try to solve our own problem? So it's kind of back to that, solving their own problem. So we're like, we're like, maybe this could be something that people use, but it wasn't like this is going to be the big thing. And I think
I love that thought process. Yeah.
And I think you see that there's a good thing around like most great companies, so especially in the consumer social space, were not built as like a company. It was built as a side project, right? Because when you look at the great consumer apps, they are built in the very beginning. They're super simple and they're built for a very singular purpose. And most of those times, those don't look like real businesses,
right?
Like
Slack, right?
Yeah, or even like Snapchat. It's like you look at it and you're like, oh, I want like a app to send photos of like my poop, which was that started at Stanford, or like nudes to people, right? It's like, if you said that at Facebook, if you're like, I want to build this as a product, you'd be like fired, right? And but like then that evolves into so much more. Or even Facebook, right? It was literally just a way to like see who's in your classes and like stalk attractive girls, right? Like that was what was at the beginning. But then it turns into something big. And I think there's this whole thing around when you're trying to build a company, you build something that you think is like company worthy, that you can share with your friends and all this stuff, because your ego is wrapped up into it. And invariably, those things are almost always way too complex, like not actually solving a real pain point, not figuring out a very specific need for a set of people. And so I think it's very difficult to build a company, like just brainstorming, how do we build a good company?
Yeah. And when do you give up on the idea? What's your criteria?
Okay, this is actually really important. I think that most people including us, hang on to the idea way too long, like way, way, way too long.
Way too long is how long?
So let me give a couple examples. So I think the most important thing as a early stage founder is getting product market fit. Like that is the only thing that matters. All the other stuff doesn't matter. And when you think about building a product, you need to be kind of excited about what you're trying to accomplish in the world. Like, I want to bring people together, or I want to build something in the space. But you need to be very flexible on the method and the approach. Like, people get very attached to their product, and me included, for sure. Like, we got very attached to our product because it's like, you're building this thing. It's like especially if we go back to what we were saying before, especially if you make it feel like, hey, this is me, my company, I'm starting this thing. I turned on Facebook and now I'm going to start this thing. It has to be like good, right? But the problem is like, most things you build in the beginning will not be good and people won't want them. And you have to be okay like throwing it away. So concretely, for a consumer product, if you don't find retention in your early users, you should be able to find throwing it away. And you should not spend the faster you can iterate, the better. The iteration speed is like the number one metric you should watch in like the early days of a startup, right? Like how fast you can ship product. Yeah. And we got that cycle time down to like a couple minutes. I can tell a story about how I do that. But I think if you are spending more than, call it like 2 weeks talking to users and getting feedback and people don't really want it, you need to change something about the product or scrap it. Like you should not spend more than like I would say 2 weeks is like the absolute upper limit of time you should spend on that.
What's the maximum you spent on an idea?
Oh, I've spent years. I've spent like one of our early products, I probably spent maybe like a year, like half.
Like iterating, months. Changing it slightly, talking to users back and forth.
Like, I was like building stuff. I was getting some people on. I was doing this. But if you really want to move fast and get something well, like, okay, you can change stuff and you can tweak it, but like you should never go more than 2 weeks without getting feedback and shipping a new version, tweaking it. Because especially, and this might be oriented a little heavily towards consumer social, but there's always this question of, do I just not have network effects? Like, do I not have enough people using my product? Or is it that no one just wants what I want, what I'm building, right?
Or the market is there, but I just can't find the right problem.
Exactly, right? And I think the most important thing is very often people solve a problem that people don't actually have. Like you should make sure that someone actually has this problem.
And this is where you go back to solving your own problem.
Exactly.
Right?
So if you can solve your own problem, then you know that that's actually at least a problem for like one person.
It at least exists.
Yeah, it exists. At least exists for you.